Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pardon Will Live. I'm your host, David Lilly, aka Pardon Will. Guys, it's been a week. I missed last week. Hope you guys are all doing a fantastic time. You guys have all survived. I don't know what you would survive from. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe something awesome happened and you survived it. No one ever says that. Did you survive that awesome time you had? No one ever talks about that. It's always tragedy. It's always something terrible. Um, anyway, guys, I'm sorry I started off on a weird foot. It's an off week for me. I was like, I'm gonna do a live, but I don't really have a whole lot to say. One thing I want to cover today is the one thing I did want to say is Happy Mother's Day. Forgot about that. It's Mother's Day, guys. It's Sunday night. I'm running late. It's Mom's Day, and I titled this "Your Mom is Woke Right" because chances are she probably is. She probably is, according to James Lindsay. She probably is woke right. We're gonna chit chat about that along with some other stuff. See who's woke, who's not woke. We're going to just go down the list and talk about who's woke, who's not woke. I'm going to give you all my hot takes on that. But before I do, if you want to be hardcore woke right and you want to play a game that's made by somebody who's probably woke right, you can go to flintlockandfog.com. This is my website. It's a game. It's a tabletop RPG like your D&Ds and your Pathfinders. Player's Manual, the beta test version is out now on Amazon. You can go buy that. Take a look at it, read through it, get to learn how to play the game. Guys, it's pretty much basic imagination with dice rolling, along with storytelling. And so I've got a whole little video right here. You can watch it. It'll tell you a little bit about the game, kind of go over that. But if you're like, hey, I don't want to buy this manual, I'd rather get it for free. Well, guess what? You can. You can go here and become a beta tester. It's free for now. You sign up. The whole PDF of the manual is on there, along with some maps, along with some all kinds of cool stuff, character sheets, things you can download just so you can play this game with your friends if you have any. And if you're into D&Ds, chances are you got a ton. You probably got a ton of friends because people love playing those games. Anyway, I made this game. It's all, oh, by the way, it's set in Victorian era. A lot of your historical characters mixed with your literary characters. You get to blend all those together. And why? You're like, David, why Victorian era? Why add historical characters into this time period? Well, because I'm based and the game's based. And what do you mean by based? You mean based like free base with drugs and stuff? No, based in reality. Based in reality. And since I was like, well, I want a D&D game, but I want to base it in reality, I made it in the Victorian era. So you got a lot of based in reality concepts, weapons, all that stuff, the character creation, and historical people mixed with a little bit of fun, like vampires, werewolves, Dracula, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Frankenstein, all your good jams. Guys, if that's too much for you and you're like, David, I'm not a friggin' nerd, dude. Get that crap off my screen. You can just like and subscribe because you're a jabroni. Do that for your boy. Your boy's out here trying hard, making games and stuff, painting pictures, and doing live streams Sunday nights. Guys, I apologize for missing last week. I was out of town. It was a good time. I had a great time. Almost didn't do it this week because it's been a busy week for me. And I was like, well, I don't want to just shill out low grade podcasts because I didn't prepare. And I was like, what? Really? No, I'm fine with shilling out low grade podcasts. So that's what tonight is. Tonight might be a little bit of low grade. We got some video clips we're going to watch. Here's the straight up honest truth, guys. Because it's been a busy week, I've been traveling along with guys. I mowed all my grass, left for a trip for a few days, came back. All of it's back up. It was like a jungle hacking through that because I was gone for a few days. Lots of rain up here in the Northeast. Everything flooded. My basement flooded. It's been a whole, guys, it's been a week. It's been a week. But you know what? By the grace of God, I'm here. So anyway, crappy episode tonight. Thanks for joining in. We're just going to chit chat. And I might not even have a ton of jokes. I just want to talk and hang out with you guys because I missed last week. So that's what we're doing. First topic is up. I figure we bring this up since it's a hot one. We got a new pope, guys. I don't know if you know this. New pope is in, Pope Louis. And when this whole thing dropped, everyone online was like, is he woke? Is the pope woke? Is he woke? Now you can't just ask if they're woke anymore. You have to ask, are they woke left or are they woke right? And lo and behold, I don't know. The pope's from Chicago. Everybody in Chicago seems like a Democrat. And the last pope was pretty woke on the left side. Who knows what this one's going to be? But a lot of things kept surfacing, a lot of mixed signals. Here's the thing, guys. I got a video for you. This is apparently from the Pope before he was elected. He posted this video. I think this is him talking. I think so. I didn't do my research, but check out this video. This is from our new Pope. Nope, not that.
Western mass media is extraordinarily effective in fostering within the general public enormous sympathy for beliefs and practices that are at odds with the gospel. For example, abortion, homosexual lifestyle, euthanasia. Religion is at best tolerated by mass media as tame and quaint when it does not actively oppose positions on ethical issues that the media have embraced as their own. However, when religious voices are raised in opposition to these positions, mass media can target religion, labeling it as ideological and insensitive in regard to the so-called vital needs of people in the contemporary world. The sympathy for anti-Christian lifestyle choices that mass media fosters is so brilliantly and artfully ingrained in the viewing public that when people hear the Christian message, it often inevitably seems ideological and emotionally cruel by contrast to the ostensible humaneness of the anti-Christian perspective.
All right, guys, I'm going to pause it right there. So if you've been online for any bit of time watching this woke right, woke left Pope conversation, it seems like the Pope is pretty based. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, David, I'm kind of shocked, right? Aren't you shocked? I guess here's the sad part. We're shocked that the Pope sounds like a Christian. That's the world we're living in today. Like, oh my God, does this Pope believe in the Bible? I've never seen this before, because you haven't. You really haven't. And I know I'm just ragging on my Catholic friends. Your boy David here is a Protestant. Pretty much a WASP at this point. I'm a Protestant, but here's a little secret. This is only between you and me. All my favorite Christian writers are Catholic. My favorite Christian writer is a Catholic. He's a Catholic monk. There's a guy named Thomas Merton. But all my favorite writers, they're all Catholic. And you're like, David, but you're a Protestant. Yeah, I read all kinds of stuff. And I got a bunch of good stuff from all these other people. The Protestant ones, the Lutherans, the old Catholics, even some Orthodox. Read the Philokalia. That was a great book. And so, yeah, I think it's surprising that we're getting all this news about the Pope. Is the Pope woke right? Is he woke left? Is he woke at all? Has he been sleeping this whole time? Well, the truth is, the Pope just seems like maybe he's a Christian. And you're like, well, he did have a pretty bad stance on immigration. Okay, well, that's fair. That's probably the one issue that I think most Christians are confused about. What do we do? Do we kick these people out? Do we not? Do we have borders? Do we not have borders? What would Jesus, WWJD, David, what would Jesus do? Well, I think Jesus would help those around him in his community, help the poor, help the sick, all that stuff, to the extent that you feel necessary to do so. I think Jesus would hate for you to have to rely on the government to do everything, and maybe get off your butt and do it yourself. That's what I would say. But here's the cool thing about this new Pope. It's year 2025. This isn't 1986 anymore, where a Pope pops up and all he does is speak Latin. We've never seen him before. This Pope has been on the internet posting videos like this. But not only has he been on the internet, your Pope, his brother, which I'm going to be honest now, it's kind of weird knowing that we got a Pope with family, like a brother and sister. You imagine that Thanksgiving dinner? Hey, Louis, what you been up to? Oh, that's right, you're Pope. That's got to be weird. That's got to be weird. Christmas, super weird. Did they do Christmas in the Vatican? Either way, his brother's been posting online for the past few years, a big old Trumper supporter. And so if you're like, well, this Pope seems to be pretty light on immigration, newsflash, his brother is not. Here's a tweet from his brother. This is freaking gold right here. Check this out. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's a little slow. What's going on here? Appears all oh, I'm sorry, guys. My program's off. Here's the thing. I don't even know if I'm still streaming right now. What's going on with this picture? Let's see if I can move it. Nothing happens. All right. Well, either way, that's not working. Let's see if this works. Guys, nothing's working. Or at least on my end. I can't see it. Maybe you can. Maybe you can see this thing. Either way, it's Statue of Liberty, and it's talking about how we asked for you're tired, hungry, not you're lazy, blah, 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 blah. Anti-immigrant post. It's pretty rad. Anyway. Here's the funny thing, guys. I've been doing this for a hot minute now. And when you're doing a job or you're doing a thing, a project, and it's hard at the beginning, and then the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's like the reverse for me. It's like the longer I do this podcast, the harder it gets. The harder it freaking gets. And that's not me just being lazy and all. It's legit. It gets hard. This thing is getting it's not as easy anymore. Either way, that's your Pope. Do I care? Here's the thing. Uh is this the new Pope? Is that a big deal? Maybe. It might be to the Catholics. Is it a big deal to me? No, the first one wasn't a big deal. Guys, I don't know what the Pope does anymore. What's the point of a Pope? Like half the Catholics I know that are conservatives that they're like, well, he is the vicar of Christ and all, and he's a successor to Saint Peter who started the church, so he's kind of the head of the church, but I just disagree with half the stuff he says. So what's the point? What's the point of a Pope? It's 2025. Do we even need a Pope anymore? And what's the chances the next Pope won't just be AI, which is probably going to happen too. The Pope, you get two options. The Pope is either AI or is the Antichrist, or he's both. Could be both. Pope could be AI. He could be an AI Antichrist. I don't know. I'm pretty upset about this stuff not working. Wow, this I don't know. You guys, I'm gonna open up chat. You tell me if this stuff is working. Legacy, you're in the chat. Are my images, is this showing up at all? Is the image showing up, or is this just a complete failure? Am I even streaming anymore? Is this even, hey, is this thing on? That's pretty much where we're at today. Anyway, we're gonna keep going. The Pope basically we got a chat coming in. Let's see if the chats will show up. Chats show up. That's good. Legacy Zach says the Pope is basically just proclamates edicts and prays on a balcony. Hey, that's not too bad. I like that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay hopping up on a balcony saying a prayer once in a while and proclamates edicts. He says, Legacy Zach coming in says, I see Pardon Will live. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Now I see you. He says, now I see you in the chat. Legacy Zach, can you see this Trump tweet? I can't. I don't know if you can. Can you see that? Can you see that friggin' book that Trump tweeted out today? We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Actually, you know what? Either way, I'm done. Trump tweet out he's gonna price control pharmaceuticals. That was the big story. He had this thing. It's like, I'm gonna tweet something that's gonna change the world. It's gonna be huge. And he's like, hey, pharmaceuticals are gonna be down. All right. So Legacy Zach came and says, I do not. All right. So my images aren't working. This whole thing is falling apart. This whole podcast is fine. I told you guys I was starting this off on a bad note. It's falling apart. Hop in the chat if you want to chit chat with me. It's touch and go so far, and I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna be touch and go the whole friggin' episode. Anyway, let's get to this. Let's get to this woke right thing. I've got a bunch of thoughts, and I've been tweeting about it all week. This woke right thing. Let's just go and throw our biases up because we got a bunch of James Lindsay videos we're gonna watch. Just up front, I'm a huge James Lindsay fan. Even from when he started and they were writing all those essays, just trolling the woke universities, but changing out, getting journals picking up their papers, and they were just changing out different things and making them ridiculous, like rape culture on dog parks, stuff like that. All that stuff he did, that I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And James Lindsay's been going after the woke for a long time. But I also listened to his podcast, New Discourses, and he has a lot to say about communism. And then about a year and a half ago, he started spouting off about Christian nationalism because it actually did pop up for a hot minute. Now, my big takeaway from James Lindsay is he always seems like he was a few steps ahead. Like he's always looking to see what the left and the woke were doing, just kind of counteract it. And he always takes communism and Marxism and kind of shows that up. But then he brings in all kinds of very heady things like dialectics and what they're trying to make you do and what they're trying to make you feel like and where they're trying to trap you. He says, one of their tactics is your reaction to their outrageousness is actually their action. What they're trying to do is to get you riled up and get you to react. Now we're going to chit chat about that because this has been a very interesting thing lately. And then he started going on a Christian nationalism theme, and I listened to that, and my ears perk up because I get it. I get the Christian nationalism thing. I think that's a hard reaction to what's been going on in the world, a secular postmodernist world. To be honest, if you live in a secular postmodernist world for this long, you see all the degeneracy and the way things are falling apart and low trust and social disorder. Of course, Christian nationalism doesn't seem so bad. It's like, hey, that doesn't seem so bad. Remember back in the day when everybody went to church on Sundays and cussing was bad and stuff like that. Now we got congresswomen yelling at each other, throwing weaves in the courthouse, and we got Trump and Obama saying cuss words all the time. All our politicians are dropping F bombs and M bombs and C bombs and whatever bombs you want. All these people dropping bombs. Yeah, we see where we're at. And that's not even on top of what we're really dealing with lately. Here's a few news things I'm going to drop real quick, just so it's fresh on your mind. About 2 weeks ago, or more than longer than that, there was a confrontation at a track meet where a young black man stabbed a white boy and he died. And that was like, well, that's the controversial part, but that really wasn't what fired up the internet. What fired up the internet is the kid who stabbed the other kid raised a ton of money. And in the comments was like, that's what these whiteys get. And so people were like, oh my gosh, they're just saying all the quiet part out loud. And you were like, oh, this doesn't look good. But then this past week, you had a mom on a playground called the little boy the N-word. And you're like, wow, that seems strange. You don't see that every day. But what you really don't see every day is she put out a GoFundMe and she raised $500,000. And you're like, wow, this seems to be a really weird territory we're in. Like all that racial tension seems to be ramping up right before, maybe Summer of Love Part 2. Like, well, that's probably the high mark. It should calm down after that. And then lo and behold, your boy Kanye dropped a song called Hail Hitler. And that was interesting. So it's been one heck of a week. All the while I'm traveling, not even paying attention. This is surface level. Guys, I haven't even been reading all the comments of all this stuff. Your boy's just been looking at the surface, seeing all the things popping up. Anyway, things are getting kind of weird out there. But on top of that, your reaction is their reaction. James Lindsay was always right about that, but he's been going off lately about the woke right, which seems like he's just been in evolution. Now, truth, like I said, I like James Lindsay, but it did seem like he was a bit, what's that called? Engagement farming. A lot of that lately, but I like to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I did for like the past year. He was going on and on about the woke right. And I think every time I think I understood it, what it was, the first time I really started popping up was the Christ is King thing. And I remember that being a conversation I had with a buddy of mine who was like, no one's going to tell me I can't say something. And I was like, I get it. But I think what James Lindsay's doing is he's just trying to get you to pay attention to the grifters, the people who aren't Christian, who are just using it to tantalize the base and get people riled up and turn people team on team. And so I gave him the benefit of the doubt on that. And then from then on, it's felt like mental gymnastics to constantly try to figure out what Lindsay was doing next and where he was going. He kept putting things out. I was like, I don't get this. I don't get this. And then when it came to the anti-Semitism stuff, it seems like every libertarian, which are all my friends, were like, yeah, we don't really want to fund Israel in this war. And he'd be like, well, it's just a bunch of woke right. And that's where the tables turned for me. And I think turned for a lot of people because he called people like the redheaded libertarian woke right. And now he's calling Matt Walsh woke right. Tim Pool's woke right. Everybody's woke right. And that's when I was like, all right, I think I see the game. We're going to listen to Lindsay. He's got a little thing where he defines what woke is. And I think he talks about woke right. We're going to listen to this real quick. And we're just going to kind of get a feel for it. Because he defines it. And then we got two definitions we're going to list. And guys, you might be like, David, I don't care. Well, you clicked on the link. It's called Your Mom is Woke Right. You knew we were going to talk about this. And I was going to go in depth about it. So let's watch this video real quick. See if this shows up. Yep. Let's go full screen. Here's Lindsay's definition of woke.
What characterizes woke in general is that there's a they out there, a powerful they, who have conspired to take people like you out of the picture. And through your oppression, you gain insight into how the world works that the people in the in club can't have. And therefore, the people on the out group have to band together in order to overthrow the system, seize the means of production of power or society or whatever it happens to be. And that's exactly what these people are, and it's exactly what they're doing. So I call them woke, because I see that as the functional definition of woke. We can get a lot more detailed, like that they embrace postmodernism openly, that they embrace critical theory openly, that they embrace Marx's analysis, but they say not his conclusions openly. And so another definition could be people who claim to be traditionalists or right wingers who have adopted Marxist or critical analysis. Very simple. It's a straightforward definition.
Now, in that whole spiel, it does seem very straightforward, but you have to think this was actually posted from Lindsay really recently. And before that, it seemed like the definition constantly changed. And again, he called Jacob Winograd, the guy who is a part of the Christian Libertarian Institute, he called him woke right. Guys, he called everybody woke right. He would have called me woke right if he knew I existed. I'm not on Twitter that much. Guys, if you're watching this, just because you watch Pardon One Life, he would have called you woke right. And you'd be like, David, you're not giving James Lindsay the benefit of the doubt. Bro, I gave him the benefit of the doubt for like a friggin' year, constantly running over circles, being like, what's he talking about? Is he just talking about the people or, critical of who's they, though? That thing, like the cabal, the Jewish cabal that's running everything. Is he just talking about them? Oh, wait, he's not. He's talking about people who are I don't anytime anybody brings up any kind of racial injustice, he's talking about them as well. So is it just every time someone thinks about race, are they woke, right? And it's like, well, anytime you think about war, you're just anti-war because you hate the Jews. It's like, well, maybe I'm anti-war because I'm anti-war, but I'm woke right now. And again, that's where we get to. Here's James Lindsay's initial problem, is he did what everyone does. It's the same reason why I was saying we shouldn't use the R word too much. He used it too much. He started labeling everybody woke right just because they said something on Twitter. In retort, a lot of the comments on James like, hey man, I'm a big fan. Can you please stop doing this? And, you're woke right now. It's like, oh my God, he's turning on everybody. And that was his issue. It was the same thing as being called anti-Semitic because of whatever. Just it's whatever it feels like it means that day. And that's where we got with the woke right. So whatever James Lindsay feels like saying that day is woke right. And I know that's not it, but his actions prove otherwise. He would have done better by sticking to a particular definition, which I think he's starting to refine now. Anyway, he's going to continue to refine it. We are going to take a look at it. This is a better one, I think. I think this one's a lot better. Let's watch this. Oh, hold on. Let's do this. My bad. All right, so this is a better one. I like this one better. We're going to take a look at this real quick.
When we understand woke this way, as having woken up to a structure of the world where they control everything, there's some they. Who are they? That's abstract at this point. It doesn't matter who they are. There is a they. They control everything, and they've controlled everything such that you're not allowed to say or think certain things so that you're kept in a false consciousness about how the world really is. And this is why Tucker Carlson, in my opinion, is woke right. His primary things that he talks about is you're not allowed to think this. You're not allowed to say this. You're not allowed to ask this question. You're not allowed to ask if Churchill might have been the villain of World War II, because in the post-war liberal consensus, which is a systemic power dynamic that has been impressed upon us by the powers of the world after the Second World War, you're simply not allowed to wonder if, in fact, Churchill and Franklin Delano Roosevelt were, in fact, working in cahoots with Stalin in order to create a new world order that would box out true conservatism.
Yeah, so again, I thought that was a better definition, but he's guilty of this himself. That's what this whole thing seems to be weird about. It's like, yeah, all these woke right people are like, hey, they're trying to tell us what not to think. What we're not allowed to ask questions now. We're not allowed to we're not allowed to do things like on the internet and talk about things in history. Yeah, you can. Everybody should talk about everything. And I think it's a great concept, except for James Lindsay doesn't think you should. Matter of fact, if you're a Christian, you definitely don't need to say things like Christ is king, because you're convincing all the other Christians that they don't know what Christ is king is. Doesn't look like it's working very well. Poor old James Lindsay. It's really sad. I'm gonna it's really sad to see this. I'm gonna show this comment real quick. Maybe this will help some other people out. Sorry, Armed Guardian, where are you broadcasting besides Rumble? We are on X, we are on Twitch, we are on YouTube, and we are on Rumble. I think another one. Kick, I think it is. He also comes back in with, bro, you said Lewis. It's Louis 14. 14, stacking them up there. No, I'm just joking. They're stacking them up. Thank you, Arm Gardner, for coming in. This is my, actually, I got to show this comment since we're just playing around tonight. He says, it looks like I'm the only attendee on Rumble. That doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. Not a lot of love over on Rumble, all the old Rumbles. Although I've just been streaming there here recently, so we'll just see how quickly that picks up. Probably not. Anyway, so this is where I got confused because this sounds great. I'm all on board with James Lindsay. I'm all on board. I think woke, the critical race theory stuff, you just apply that to all things because I'm an individualist, guys. When he's like, I mean, let's rewatch this because he says something very important in the beginning. Right here. Let's listen to this again.
When we understand woke this way as having woken up to a structure of the world where they control everything, there's some they. Who are they? That's abstract at this point. It doesn't matter who they are. There is a they. They control everything, and they've controlled everything such that you're not allowed to say or think certain things so that you're kept in a false consciousness about how the world really is.
So I think what he's trying to, I mean, he's understanding the concept of this day. But also what he's implying is that there is an underclass, a minority of thinkers, people who are, the underclass, which is his Marxist concepts. It's saying that there's always a two-group thing. This is the Marxism. There's the they who control everything. And then there's you who need to gather together and stand up and fight the they. And he's saying that's critical theory, or it's at least Marxism. And I'm like, I understand that too. But the problem is now he on Twitter is going, hey, there's all these woke right people that are trying to keep me from saying my thing. They're always trying to shut me down. They're always trying, literally the same thing. James Lindsay just divided these conservatives, the real true liberalism, conservative liberalism versus the right, woke right. Logically, it's the same thing. It's the they to him. The woke right is just the they to him. And you're like, David, are you sure? Guys, go listen to the Jordan Peterson and James Lindsay podcast that recently dropped. They talk about the they being the dark triad, the tetragrammaton or whatever online, doing things for the olds, the trolls, the people always up in their comments. Guys, he talks explicitly about how this army of trolls and bots and people coming after him every time he comments on something. Guys, it's the they. That's his thing. It's the they. He's guilty of the same thing. So this is where I proposed. We had this other tweet. I'm going to bring this up. Check out this tweet from from David Petulatulia. Oh wait, I'm gonna blow this up so you can see it. Let's do this. And I'm gonna read this out for you real quick. All right, he says, for the folks who are still confused, woke right, obsessed with racial identity, authoritarian, opposed to religious liberty, hates the Jews. Woke left, obsessed with racial identity, authoritarian, opposed to religious liberty, and hates the Jews. Your boy, I'm not even going to pull it up. Your boy responded with woke centrism, which is a term I coined, which is it's just obsessed with political identity. Authoritarian, authoritarian, opposed to religious liberty, which is exactly why they kept coming out and telling Christians not to say Christ is king. Woke centrism, James Lindsay is just a part of that, against religious liberty. And instead of them hating the Jews, they just think if you're anti-war that you hate the Jews, or if you say something that you're asking questions that you hate. They think everybody who's anything but a complete on their side hates the Jews. Guys, I don't know. I don't know if I need to say this. This is a wild one. Here's how you know I'm not audience captured. I understand the libertarians hate war, and they got them. I don't care what anybody thinks about who's in charge or who's running the government, who's in control. I don't care. Even if it was a giant cabal out there, the globalists, like Alex Jones liked to say. Even if it's a dark group out there. Like, David, aren't you concerned about these powers? No. No, I'm not super concerned. You're like, well, that seems ignorant. It could be. It absolutely could be ignorant. I'd have no qualms with Jews. I got no problem with them. The large group, I got no problem. Guys, this is going to blow your mind. I have no problem with any group of people. Any group of people. I mean, unless you group them into like people who commit crimes. But if you're just talking about racial groups or ethnicity groups or country groups or government groups, I have no problem with that. Now, if that group of people is explicitly trying to commit crimes like the IRS, then yeah, I have a problem with that group. And you're like, David, the IRS, that's a weird one. Their taxation's theft. Anyway, they're stealing from you. Yeah, I have a problem with groups that do explicitly do crimes, but I have no problem with groups. I'm an individualist. So if you're if you're a person that looks like me and you do something against me, yeah, I dislike you as much as I dislike anybody who would do something the same thing towards me. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. And you'd be like, well, David, you're not paying attention to who runs Hollywood. Yeah, I am. Doesn't that bother you? I'm not in Hollywood. I'm an artist. I create things. If I don't like it, I'll go make my own. Guys, this is friggin' wild to everybody. But James Lindsay has a point, except for he fell for it too. If James Lindsay doesn't like the woke right, then just go make your own little group over there and do whatever you want. Who cares? Why are you trying to stop? Why are you trying to get in everybody's and call all the libertarians? Who cares, James? James, who friggin' cares? Who cares? If it's just as bad as like the woke left where they have all the institutions, I could understand you doing something like that, but make fun of them. But at least be a little bit more definitional. If all it means to be woke right is be a Christian nationalist, then say that. If it just means that you don't like Zionists, just say that. That's what woke right is. Just say that. Why blanket in this overarching term where you're calling everybody, including Tucker Carlson, Matt Walsh, Tim Pool, Redhead Libertarian, Jacob Wintercraft, you're calling all these people who have nothing in common woke right. It just makes it arbitrary now. It's the same thing as calling someone a racist. Means nothing. Same thing as calling someone anti-Semitic. It doesn't mean anything anymore because you used it as a blanket term. So that's the frustrating thing because I like old Jamie Lindsay. Jamie Lindsay I'm a big fan of Jamie Lindsay. And he's just stirring up trouble. Now, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I think he really does care. But it's hard for me not to think that he's just engagement farming at this point. And that's why I was like, let's hop on this engagement farming thing and put woke right in the title of your podcast. No, I'm joking. It is interesting. It's irritating. It's absolutely irritating when you have somebody you're watching. You're like, hey, this guy's making a ton of good points. Here's the other part. His entire thing was like, your action is their reaction. And then the guy goes on Twitter and just lobs bombs. And then when people are like, hey, James, I'm a libertarian. I'm not even a part of that. He's like, oh, you're woke right now. It's like, do you want me to not like you? Like, do you want me to be on that side? Because are you trying to make my reaction your action? So James Lindsay might have a great message, terrible evangelism. He might be right on some things, does not understand how to communicate that well. And you might be like, well, David, I listen to all his podcasts. Seems like he communicates very well in podcast form, but watch his Twitter. It's all over the place. It's wild. It's reckless. He did, even on Peterson, be like all these trolls in there just saying LOL. And now he's just LOL and all over the place. Like his brain broke. The guy's brain broke. So here's my solution to everybody watching this. If you're woke right, I'm assuming you love to say prayers to Jesus. Why don't you go and pray for your boy Jamie? Your boy Jamie's having a tough time. Maybe he's not. Maybe he doesn't want your prayers. I don't know. I have no idea. But go and pray for him, even if you hate him. Even if you like Zach, and this is what Zach says. He says, James Lindsay is an SHIT lib. Can I say that on YouTube? I'm not going to. It's Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day. We're not going to cuss on Mother's Day. But yeah, he's right, though. Maybe he is. Maybe he's just a liberal. None of this stuff bothers me, though. If you're a Democrat, I don't have a problem with you. Guys, Trump's a Democrat. I voted for him. Now, if you're an idiot and you insult me or my friends, then yeah, now we got problems. And that was James Lindsay's problem the whole time. Anyway, so here's the new term we're going to spread, guys. It's called woke centrism. And it's you don't want the right wing to have thoughts of their own. You don't want the left wing to have thoughts of their own. You just want them to all have the same thoughts as you in the center. Woke centrism. And if you start saying things like questioning like who's funding who or where this is coming from or who's running this industry, you're out. You're out. The only way you're not allowed to talk anymore. because I don't know if you know this, but let's break down woke real quick. I don't have a great definition because I'm not a scholar, but from my point of view, woke seems to be always about identity. In every aspect of it, it's about identity. It's about who you are, which is your fundamental aspect of life, is who you are and what your identity is. That's why I thought that calling someone woke right or woke left is itself a fundamental aspect of what identity is. You're identifying them as woke right or woke left. For James to be like, all these woke writers and woke lefters, all they care about is identity. Yeah, bro, you're doing it too. Like, you're doing it too. It's just an identity thing. In a group form. He's literally making a group up called Woke Right and pushing them all into it and saying we need to fight against them. Is that not Marxism? Is that not the same thing he's been fighting against this whole time? So that's where it gets weird, because it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? Or you could do what I do, which is just lean on your laurels, be an individualist. Don't judge people according to a group that they may or may not belong to, because it makes it too easy and too simplified. Judge them according to their character. I don't know, something like that. I don't know who said that. Someone back in the day said, judge people according to their character. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what we should do from here on out. We got Tim Pool coming in. Tim Pool's got something to say about old Jamie Lindsay. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up. I just figured I would, because I thought, no, we're gonna skip the Timmy Pool video. We're gonna go straight to this one. Tim Pool posted this like recently, pretty close to being tonight. It says James and his woke right ilk admitting the final boss is national conservatism. This is like Inception. So basically what happened is Will Chamberlain said, again, if you thought woke right was a label for anti-Semites and Israel critics, you thought wrong. The point is to hurt national conservatism. James Lindsay retweets it. God, this is so stupid. I can't believe I'm reading this out. All of it. I'm not just talking about James Lindsay. I'm talking about, I'm just reading Twitter on a live stream. Anyway, James Lindsay says national conservatism is the woke right's final boss. To be fair, so kinda yes. National conservatives mean people who are nationally, they're American conservatives, and that's the top priority, what they care about. They're grouped together according to their American ideals that they want to conserve. Anyway, Tim Pool says James is his woke right ilk admitting their final boss is national conservatism. Tim Pool's whole concept of James Lindsay is, and I was going to play the video, but screw it. We'll just play the video. Let's go straight to video.
Face.
I'm kind of tired.
So we can't get an. Why is James Lindsay doing it? He claims he sacrificed his tribe. What actually happened is he became irrelevant. And when you're ousted from the liberal factions of universities and can't get a job because you've called them out for their lies, the only work you're going to find is on the other side. The problem is his body of work is no longer relevant. He did the Sokol Square hoax. He's no longer relevant in the space. So he can't get an in with the right. He gets mocked over the golden Trump statue, whatever happened with that. So he's got nothing. So he goes, I need to get back in with the university. It's the only career path I have for making money and surviving. Also, he has like a stepdaughter who was attacking him over this stuff. It seems like there were family issues, career issues. And so he goes, I'll just attack everybody on the right as woke right, putting me at odds with Trump and his base. I will then publicly declare that I've sacrificed my tribe. Watch, in a 6 months to a year, he'll be on a bunch of liberal podcasts. He'll be on Midas Touch, and he'll be talking about how the right has gone woke and adopted things that are bad, and he should have seen it coming.
All right, this one's difficult because old Timmy boy, he might be right about this. He might be, and maybe I just got and thought James was sincere for the most part. But again, hard situations make for hard times, makes for hard pivots. Keep shaking my table, guys. I'm sorry. He might be right about that. Maybe James Lindsay's just been fooling around this whole time, and he's just trying to turn back to the woke part. But I still highly doubt that. I think problems at home could easily be an issue, but I'm just not concerned. I mean, I'm concerned for him. I'm not concerned of whether or not that affects the way he talks, because I've had a hard week and I'm still doing this live, saying things out of my mouth, and none of them are as atrocious as the things that James Lindsay has been pointing out. Again, I don't think he was grifting. I think he sees things through an in-depth lens. So this goes back to a conversation we had a long time ago, but it keeps being brought up with this Douglas Murray thing, this expert class, this expertise thing. Here's the problem. Here's where I think James Lindsay is. I don't agree with Tim Pool on this. I think this is what happened to old Jamie Lindsay. It's just my 2 cents on it. Here's the problem with the expertise. I run into people all the time who have an expertise in their particular category. Now they're highly intelligent, and I'm very appreciative of that. But it doesn't always say a ton about the well-roundedness of, character or even intellect. Here's what I mean. If you had 2 doctors, you had 2 different doctors. One of them had a higher GPA than the other one. And we're not going to go into DEI. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, like, you had, a doctor with a 4.0 GPA and a doctor with a 3.8 GPA. And they're about to do brain surgery. You get to you got to pick one or the other. But you find out right before you're going under that the 4.0 GPA doctor who's about to do brain surgery on you doesn't know how to change his tire on his car. And you find out the 3.8 doctor does know how to change a tire on his car. Now, who are you going to pick with the expertise to go under the knife? Tell me in the chat. I'd like to hear this. So my pick is always the one who does, even if it's a lower GPA. Maybe he doesn't know all the things the other doctor does. But in a tight situation, to know this is what I call the tire test. To know basic fundamentals about life, like how to change a tire. Like to know before you jack the car up on a flat, you loosen all the lug nuts. And then you jack the car up. You don't loosen them all the way. You just loosen them so they're not solid tight. I don't know how many doctors know that. I know that. You probably know that. Maybe you didn't know that. It doesn't matter. My point is there's an aspect of this expertise thing where you start to lose some basic functionality of like physics, critical thinking, just basic things of just like how to problem solve in everyday life in whatever situation. There's a well-roundedness to people who happen to not be so dove into one particular topic and one particular expertise. When you're a hammer and you're an expert in hammers, everything looks like a nail. Everything. You can't pull back from the 30,000 foot view and start to look at all these different aspects. What is woke right? What is woke left? What is woke even? Let me sit on this thing. And if woke is about they and they're all those ones controlling it, does James Lindsay not understand that he's doing the they thing to the woke right and the woke left? The they, when he was talking about that's Marxism, all these institutions, the universities have failed because they're preaching Marxism. So it's you versus the institutions, the university. And wouldn't that be Marxism too? It gets all confusing. And I think it gets really confusing when someone whose expertise is Marxism is, going into all these different categories of how the woke works and what communism is and all that. You start to forget how to change tires. And I think Tim Pool's got the upper hand on old Lindsay boy because Tim Pool has to talk about a bunch of different things all the time. Now, is Tim Pool an expert in any of those things? No, I don't think Tim Pool's an expert in anything near Lindsay is on, talking about Marxism. I think Lindsay's way smarter than Tim Pool when it comes to Marxism. But old Timmy boy has to have conversations with all different types of people every night of the friggin' week. So it's okay if he's not an expert. Guys, it's okay if Timmy boy's mediocre. He's doing his job. His job, it's the same thing with Rogan. Now, be honest, Tim gets on his little tirades, but I'm sure Rogan does too. But it's the same thing. Does Rogan need to be an expert? No. All he has to do is talk to people. And all Timmy boy's got to do is kind of look at things, the news, and just talk about his side of perspective. Again, I disagree with old Timmy about a ton, but I still like Timmy. Guys, I still like James Lindsay. I still like all these people. These people are still in my prayers. And you're like, David, how are you not more mad about this? How are you not mad about they, the ones that are controlling everything? Who is they, though? Who is they, though, David? Sure. And if it wasn't they, the ones you're thinking of, it'd be a different they. Then what do you do? Well, we fight against that they. Okay, well, if it's not Israel, then it's this Russia. Or if it's not Russia, it's this. It's always another thing. And you're like, David, how do you deal with this? I'm like, well, here's how I do it. I till my own garden, and I affect the things I can affect when I can affect them. And the only thing I can do is do a little podcast at 8:30 on Sunday nights. Like and subscribe, you jabronis. Let's get old Timmy boy off here. That's what I do, guys. Here's the thing. This is what it means when you live a simple life like mine. You get on the internet and you chit chat about all the things you want to chit chat about. You get to talk about whatever you want. And then people go, David, you sure don't sound like an expert in this woke right thing. And I get to sit back and go, I'm not an expert. I'm a comedian. I'm just joking. That's a Dave Smith, Douglas Murray inside joke. Yeah, I can talk about whatever I want to talk about. And my credibility is based off whether or not it sounds truthful, or at least is truthful. Because I could be wrong. But I'll always be honest with you guys. And that's my take on the woke right. If you got labeled woke right, fear not, good friend. Fear not, good friend. Chances are your mom got labeled it too. Because your mom is woke right. Guys, thanks for tuning in this week. We had to get to... before we go any further, I was like, well, you know what? We're talking a lot about woke. Let's play one more clip. I've got a clip for you of what woke really looks like. And I was trying to think of what would be the right-wing equivalent to what woke actually is. Let me do this. Actually is. So this is a fun clip. So think about it. What would be the right-wing version of this? I've got the answer, but I want to see what you can come up with. All right, take a look at this. Nope, not that. It's just Tim Pool again. Hold on. I gotta find it. Here we go. All right, what's the right-wing version of this?
So I am going to spend the next minute screaming, because that is what is going on in here. That is what the trans genocide in this country, in this city, has brought me to.
Guys, I probably should have warned you on that one, but I didn't, because I'm a jerk. I wasn't paying attention to how loud that was going to be. I had no idea it was going to be that loud. That was awful. Anyway, let's continue.
Imagine that!
All right. God, that was absolutely awful. I sincerely apologize. for that. Now, if you're like David, that seems pretty woke. No argument, just screaming and yelling and shouting. What's the right-wing version of that? The answer is James Lindsay. That would be James Lindsay. No, I'm playing old Jamie. Jamie's a good guy. He's just a little off his path. He'll come back around as soon as he gives his life to Jesus. That's where it really comes down to. James Lindsay's a smart guy. The problem is, guys, I keep making jokes. Here's, and then we're coming to the end, so I'm going to give you my little advice. Because we're always about starting the week off on the right foot. And you might disagree with me tonight. You might be like, David is an idiot. And you might be right about that. That's just unfortunate for you that I'm an idiot. Oops, my bad. Here's my simple advice, and this is why I think James Lindsay would have done better, but can only do what he can do and only react the way he's reacting, is because when you're not anchored to a particular foundation, like I was just describing, like I don't just look at giant groups of people as a monolith and I just go, oh yeah, all of them are just like that. And then I'm just like, I just don't do that. I just don't do that. And you're like, well, David, how do you not? Everyone seems to just do that all the time. How do you not do that? It's because I just take the time to pay attention to how dumb that is. It's just a dumb thing. Life is way more complicated than that. Groups of people are more complicated than that. And it's the same thing as I don't want to lump all the things about me. Like, I don't want you to look at me and think every white dude with a beard. Because there's a lot of us out there. And a lot of them are stupid. I might be one of them, but I'm not as stupid as some of the others. Come to New York. You hang around New York, every time you see a white dude in the city with a beard, idiot. Don't lump me in with them. Don't do that. I would not appreciate that. And I assume other people wouldn't. And since I'm a Christ follower, I treat people the way I'd like to be treated. And I love my neighbor as thyself. But that's not it. Jesus talks about being tossed to and fro by the winds and the sea, by the tide. It says be anchored in the word of God and prayer, and consider all things through that particular lens. So I'm obligated to look at the world steady on a rock, the foundation. The person who built it. I've got like 40 different scriptures I'm smashing into one. The guy who built the house on the sand. That's where I'm talking about. I built my house on a rock. So every time these topics come up, like the woke right and anti-Semitism, and war in Israel and war in Ukraine and war in this, my thoughts don't really change. Like, David, how are your topics? What about new information? I would, but the philosophy behind it, my ethics, they all still the same. I'm just the same guy. Each time a new topic pops up, every time I do a podcast, a new topic pops up. It's not like it's a stop. Oh my God, I never thought about this before. No, it's pretty basic. It's pretty easy because I'm not tossed to and fro. It seems like old James Lindsay seems to be tossed to and fro. Every time someone brings up something, he's got to bob and weave and figure out his way through it and then answer this one and answer that question. And I wonder if it has a little bit to do with him not having his house built on a rock and it's built on sand. And so again, you might not like James Lindsay. Hell, you might like James Lindsay. You might hate Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. You might all think these people are anti-Semites and they hate the Jews and they just want to, whatever. I don't know what you think. But if you're really into that and you don't know how to change a tire, my suggestion is, number one, learn how to change a tire. Add to your critical thinking. Number two, give your life to Jesus. Build your house on a rock. And number three, love people the way you'd want to be loved. Now, if I was doing something stupid, like trying to take over Hollywood, I would hope you would call me out and be like, David, don't do that. And so, yeah, if you're cool about that, then then go and call out the people who take over Hollywood. I don't know. We got the Armed Gardener coming back in, this time on YouTube. Welcome back on YouTube. It says, I hope there aren't as many godless people as there seem to be right now. Me too, Armed Gardener. But here's the thing. There could be one of us. There could be two of us. As long as there's two of us, there I am in the midst of you. So as long as there's at least two people that aren't godless, we'll be all right. And so all the people around them. And so I'm not super worried about that. Guys, I know there wasn't a ton of jokes. I did kind of fumble this episode. I kind of shoved it all together. Didn't spend a lot of time. But this woke right thing, again, I'm trying to coin the term woke centrism. So you can take that and run with it. Tweet about it all you want. Woke centrism. It's just being in the center and being the same thing woke. That's what we're talking about James Lindsay being. Everybody's guilty of it, guys. Don't feel bad if you're guilty of it too. Guys, I'm guilty of it. But the only way you step out of that is you constantly just start paying attention to each individual. I'm trying to lump everybody in. Just don't lump everybody. Guys, it's super easy. Just don't lump everybody in. Just don't. Everybody's this one group of people. There's only two groups of people going to heaven and people going to hell. No, I'm just joking. I mean, yeah, there's really only two groups. But there's more. It's more complicated. What I'm trying to tell you guys, this life is way more complicated than it seems. One more note. I'm going to bring up the Yay, Hail Hitler music. Guys, I'm not a fan of rap. I know a bunch of you people out there love the hip hops. And a lot of you people think this is edgy and punk rock. Kind of is. I get it. But again, I'm not a fan of rap. And so even if you're like, this song's a banger, your boy David doesn't like it. And that's not even talking about the lyrics. Now, I did pay attention to the lyrics. And I'll tell you one thing I did notice about the lyrics that I wanted to correlate with the woke thing. That's why I'm bringing it up. So my understanding of woke has everything to do with identity. But your boy Ye never brought up identity at all throughout the whole song. I pay attention. I mean, there is some identifiers, some big identifiers for sure. They didn't do the identity thing, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Again, rap music sucks. Take that for what you want. Hopefully I didn't offend you. Hopefully I did. I don't care. Doesn't really matter. I think you should be able to like what you like. And if you like the rap and you like the Ye song, go like the Ye song. Are you woke left now? Sure. I'm going to call you woke left. No, I'm joking. Are you woke right because you like the Ye song? Sure. Who cares? Who cares if James Lindsay thinks you're woke right? Who cares if I think rap sucks? Who cares? Guys, who absolutely cares? Here's the thing. The only person that really cares about you is me, your family, and old Jesus. I'm joking. I'm at a loss. This episode was a fun one. I enjoyed it. I wish I had more jokes for you guys. I will next Sunday, be back at 8:30. I'll have a little bit more planned. I won't be traveling across the country for a week, so my brain's a bit fried. That's really the excuse I'm going with. That my basement flooded. That's the second excuse. So I got two: traveled a lot and basement flooded. Outside of that, I'm just incompetent. That's where we're at. We're just incompetent. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a fantastic week. Again, build your house on rock, not on sand. Don't be tossed to and fro by the winds of the culture that's moving around you. If you're woke right, just ignore it. If you ignore the woke right thing, it will go away. And if you're woke left, then how did you last this long? I apologize. Hope you had a good time. Guys, hope you had a wonderful time. The last thing I will say is God bless ya.